Believe in Bigfoot? Dogman? Any cryptid? Are you skeptical?
Curious about the supernatural, conspiracy theories, the unknown? Then come join us as we explore facts, tall tales, and encounters on Creatures and Curiosities.
Hello and welcome to Creatures and Curiosities. I'm David.
And I'm Jake.
And in this week's episode, we're going to be talking about some more little people.
Yeah.
But before we jump into that, car problems already, huh?
On the way to podcast, yeah.
Too much.
It's always something. Telling
It's
you.
always something.
Get you.
It's the evil spirits trying to stop us from educating the public that they're out there.
And they can't keep me down, so it's not going to work.
Not going to happen.
Yeah. My car is going to break down with a smile on my face, and I'm going to keep going.
Yep, exactly. And I'm getting all set to travel. I leave real soon and going to be gone for a week or so. And
Baseball and good food.
baseball, good food, loving every minute of it. We talked about it in the last podcast. No reason to kick the dead horse, but I'm looking forward to it. And yet not, because I hate traveling.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you get halfway through what your expected, end time is, and you're like, God, I wish I was home.
I just want to be home.
Yeah. Not that you're not still having fun.
No.
But you still want to go home.
And I'll tell you what, sitting in a ballpark eating a Dungeness crab sandwich, it doesn't get much better than that.
Right.
Except for home.
Except for being home right after the game.
Yeah, right after the game. And since we're, about, 900 miles away from the ballpark, it's kind of hard to get home right away. So anyway, in past episodes, we've talked about the gnomes in Porterville.
Yep.
Which I loved that episode.
I love it too, yeah.
I don't know how many people have listened to that one, but to me, that one is still up there in the world of plausibility because of the way it went down.
It's just a good story.
Those dirty little feet,
Yep.
in the imprints in the soil that the police found and whatnot. It's
Multiple people seeing it.
Just all the evidence was there that they exist.
Because they do.
They do. They have to. Exactly. And then leprechauns. We did an episode on leprechauns where the state has enacted laws to protect them. So they have to exist. Then you got puckwudgies. Now, puckwudgies are more of a little creature than they are a little person, I think.
Yeah.
But
they're still in that same kind of realm.
It's the same thing. They've been seen by multiple people. Hair up on the back of an animal's and whimpering with their tail between their legs when they're in the presence of them.
Yeah.
Clearly an evil little thing. One of our most recent episodes, the Little People of the Priors, which of course we love because we're Montanans.
Yeah.
And that's right in our backyard.
Which we're gonna have to go check it out.
We still got to go out and see if we come across them.
Yeah.
Which could be our demise.
It could be, but it's worth it.
It's worth it. You just got to know. Maybe we'll take some like venison jerky or something with us and just
we'll give them treats.
Chuck it out there for them. And then we talked about, we didn't have an episode on it, but you remember, I think you're the one that brought it up in one of our episodes, the Inukins of Alaska.
Yeah, those scary little guys.
The little creatures that lived underground and they'd kidnap people and take them down there and either enslave them and then release them a year later, or they'd eat them.
Yeah.
They were little cannibalistic people. So
it's like my wife's worst nightmare.
I know. I was going to say that at one point that, my daughter, we've said it in past episodes, but my daughter, your wife, has always been terrified of little people.
Yeah.
She hated the munchkins.
Yeah.
She hated, what were the other little things?
The Oompa Loompas, yeah.
She hated those things. And I mean, which is terrible to say because they are just little people.
Yeah.
Right? But she's always been freaked out by it. So she'll probably hate this episode. Deep
down in her soul, she knows that this is what she's really thinking of.
Yes, exactly. So moving into this week's episode, we're going to be talking about the Menehune from Hawaii.
Yeah.
And again, it's another cultural belief in little people, which is across the entire globe.
And I can't remember if we talked about it on one of our episodes. Remember that video I sent you? A guy is talking to, and I don't know where they're at, but it's clearly like in some sort of jungle. And he's talking to a tribe of people. Yeah. And they're explaining how there's little people that run amok and they cause mischief. Right. Remember, it's translating it and all that stuff. And
yeah, I don't remember the name of what you sent, but I do remember watching.
Yeah, and there's like, I don't know, there's like 6 or 7, male villagers sitting around, and every single one of them are like, oh yeah, we've all seen them out hunting. You just kind of go your separate ways and don't bother them.
Yep. little trilogy of terror people.
They're everywhere.
It's terrifying.
And it just goes back to, if it was one isolated incident, you could write it off, but we're talking across the globe.
Across the globe. Every culture, it doesn't matter.
Is having these things, yeah.
Yeah. It's almost unbelievable, yet believable.
And this is starting in a time where it's not like you could just, oh, I saw this, so let me get on my blog and post about it, and then someone across the world can read it. This is back when you didn't even know people existed across the waters.
No, and half of them have no access to media of any kind.
Right.
You know, where you're talking about like the thing that you sent me, some native tribesmen sitting around a campfire, you know, and they're half naked wearing, you know, tiger's teeth or something around there. They don't have phones. They don't have newspapers.
Yeah.
They don't have TV. They don't know what's going on out there in the world. And yet they tell stories of these little people.
Exactly.
And the fact that they avoid them because they're little mischief creating nasty little creatures.
Yeah.
Now, in this particular case, the Menehune, because we've talked about the benevolent and malevolent little people.
Right.
And in this week's adventure, these little guys really are neither. I don't think there were any cases of malevolent behavior, except one thing that we're going to talk about. But that's only if you really piss them off.
Right, yeah.
But normally they just go about their nightly event, their little nocturnal things. They go about their business and they leave you alone, and you act like you don't see them and you just move on and everything's fine. Whereas the case of the gnomes and stuff, these people tried to ignore them, and they ran around on the porch and banged on windows and acted like little jerks.
Ate their fish and flipped them off and laughed
and they
at
were
them.
horrible little creatures. So the Menehune are not that. So this is not like a scary story. It will be for your wife.
Yeah. She'll be horrified listening to this.
But anyway, let's just get into the description of them. The word Menehune actually comes from a Tahitian word, which was Menehune, which means a lowly or common class kind of a person. I think more literally it translated to like lacking spiritual power. And so really all that boils down to is they did not hold a position of royalty or glamour within a community. They were considered like the lower class, just hardworking little guys.
Yeah.
The Menehune people are said to be around 2 to 3 feet tall, weighing in around 20 pounds, with stout, muscular frames, covered in dark brown hair, broad shoulders, dark skin, a pot belly, which reminds me of like a puckwudgie. Yeah. And faces possessing long eyebrows on a protruding brow with sharp ears and large, intelligent-looking eyes. Some people, through lore, have said that they're so small they can fit in the palm of your hand. I think that's kind of going out there.
Yeah.
You know, 2 to 3 feet tall is not going to fit in your hand.
No.
They are extremely strong for their size, and they're known to be elusive and nocturnal. And so when I say elusive, I mean they don't just hide from you. They like magically vanish, which is
terrifying.
It's scary because you don't know if they're still there or if they've entered some other realm of...
Yeah, are they vanishing to sneak up on you to get you?
Yeah.
Or are they vanishing because they just want to get away?
Yeah, so as the story goes, it's because they just don't want to be seen. So I don't think they're trying to hurt you. They just disappear. They're known to enjoy bananas and fish, shrimp, ferns, and berries, but their favorite foods are coconut pudding, squash, sweet potato pudding, and taro leaves.
These guys know how to eat.
They know how to eat. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I love coconut pudding personally.
Oh, yeah.
And who doesn't love a good squash or a sweet potato?
So got some bananas and shrimp with it too?
Yeah.
You're good to go.
And they're probably all in good shape.
Yeah. Well, they're strong.
They are strong for their size. Exactly.
And what is that with all of these?
I don't know. That, every single little thing that we've talked about has always been like the strength of 8 men, or, they do feats that are unfathomable to humans. Where do they get that?
Right.
Popeye had spinach. Well, I guess coconut pudding
Coconut
and squash
pudding makes you jacked.
with some bananas and ferns or something must have something to do with their strength.
I mean, to me, it just proves that they're supernatural in some form. It's not just like a tribe of human beings that are that size.
And yet a lot of people believe that's what they are, which we're going to get into in just a minute. But the Menehune are said to have gruff-sounding voices, and they only speak in grunts and growls. So if you were to try and communicate with one, you probably can't. So you're going to, whether you're speaking Hawaiian language or whether you're speaking English or French Polynesian or whatever, I don't know that they can understand you, but you cannot understand them if they answered you, because they just grunt and growl and sound like some, little uneducated beast or something.
Yeah.
The Menehune are generally not considered evil, but rather industrious and typically shy, preferring to remain hidden from people, which is why they're elusive. So they don't like being seen. So when you see them, poof,
they're gone.
They vanish. They're primarily seen as kind, magical, and hardworking, similar to leprechauns, right? Because if you go back into the leprechaun story, they were little cobblers and, they kind of helped out. Gnomes too, right? Same thing. If you had a good little gnome, he would help take care of the animals on the farm and stuff. Piss him off, and
he's going to eat
next
them.
thing you know, he's skinning your cat and hanging it in the barn. So I would imagine these are similar. If you piss them off, then
watch out.
They don't do good things. But if you leave them alone, they're somewhat helpful to humans. But they really just want to do their own thing. They don't even want human involvement. They operate at night, working with high skill in engineering and crafting some of Hawaii's most legendary sites. They can be mischievous, stealing items from people, which that's a typical little person thing.
Yep,
right?
Little thieves.
Yeah, but in their case, they usually return it. So they're just doing it to be ornery. They play tricks on travelers and visitors to the area, but they've been known to punish those people that disrespect them, steal from them, which they're little hypocrites, right? They can take your stuff, tease you, but if you steal from them, they get really ticked off. Or if you intrude on or interrupt their work in any fashion, that even means looking at it. So if they're busy building something and you walk up and watch them, they're angry.
Done for.
They're so pissed off they can hardly handle it. And they've been known to turn people into stone. Well, now normal people can't do that, right? So that would bring them back into the magical realm.
Exactly. You're supernatural in some way.
They have to be some little kindred spirit of some kind.
Some little demon.
Yeah. Exactly. So they've also been known to, like, if you interrupt what they're doing, they just walk away from it. Let's just say they're building a little boat or something of some kind, and they see you peering through like tree branches and you're watching them. Well, if they don't turn you into stone because now they're so angry at you, they walk away from it, they don't complete it, and they're done. They never come back to it, and it just sits there. So I don't know what goes through their little mind, but they get so mad.
They're just so
that
shocked.
You watch them, they're just like, we're done with it.
Yeah, I can't even be here anymore.
I can't be here. We're leaving. Goodbye. They do have a weakness. They fear dogs and owls. So, and we're going to get into that just a tiny little bit later. But the location where they are typically seen, they live in deep forests, hidden valleys, and remote mountainsides of the Hawaiian Islands, especially Kauai. And evidence suggests that they may also live in Oahu and the big island of Hawaii. And legend says that many of them moved to the uninhabited island of Necker, which is located about 430 miles northwest of Honolulu. That island still to this day is uninhabited unless the little Menehune are there.
Yeah.
And nobody sees them.
Is that an accessible island? Can you just go there and visit it like you would a national park here or something? Not saying it is a national park.
I don't know well enough, but I think it is like a protected island. I don't know if you can like launch a boat, go over there, get out and walk around, but I think you might be able to. And the only reason I say that is because there's been pictures of like caves and stuff that are there that they believed the Menehune made and lived in. But I didn't do enough research to know if can you actually like go visit it. I know people have been there because there's photographs.
But sometimes people just do what they want.
Sometimes, you just throw caution to the wind, you go on and hope that you find a little Menehune. So the Menehune make their homes in remote areas. They generally live in caves, lava tubes, hollow logs, and banana leaf huts, or pretty much any inaccessible area away from main settlements. So that's kind of where you're going to find them. Similar to like leprechauns.
Yeah.
Remember they would go into that specific tree? I don't remember the name of it.
Yes. But I don't remember the name either.
Yeah.
But.
And so they always say, if you want to catch one, sneak up on one of those trees and reach into the hole and grab them. And the guy's going to be kicking and screaming when you pull him out. But
it's going to take its little cobbler tools and nick a finger off or something. That's what's going to happen.
So the Menehune, I think, are similar in that there are specific locations that you could go to if there was any chance of finding one or seeing one. Moving into the origin of them, do you want to cover that?
Yeah.
And before you do, I'm going to jump out there and say if anybody in Hawaii or has spent any time on the Hawaiian Islands is listening to this podcast, we will butcher.
Oh, it's going to be bad.
Any Hawaiian word on here, including the names of the islands.
Yeah.
So you got to just give us.
It's going to be so bad that
on that
people who know how it's pronounced are going to go, where is he talking about?
Yeah. And
then they're going to realize that it's not how you say it. So
right, especially when we get into some names and things of that nature.
It's going to be bad.
I can't do it. So we're going to do the best that we can. So anyway, the origin of the Menehune.
Yeah, so it's pretty much a mystery. Some theories suggest they were either ancient inhabitants of the islands before Polynesian arrival, descendants of a mysterious race like Mu, which was a lost continent in the Pacific, and it's confirmed that it never existed.
Yeah, that's kind of a mythological place. Area. Some people are going to say, oh, you guys are idiots, Mu existed. But scientifically speaking, they're saying that Mu never actually existed, but it has like this rich tradition of the people that came from Mu.
Which means it probably did exist because scientists are liars.
Scientists lie. Moon landing.
Even spirits or interdimensional beings, known for their incredible nighttime construction work on structures, but vanishing into thin air if seen by anyone.
Yeah.
So again, it's just kind of shrouded in mystery there.
And I love the fact that they only come out at night.
I like that too.
Yeah. That's the way it should be. Because, when there's construction on the roadway during the day and it holds up traffic.
It's a nightmare.
That just ticks me off.
It's a nightmare.
Go out there at night.
Get your work done at night.
Yeah. Learn from the Menehune people. That's when that kind of construction stuff should be occurring.
And there's no reason they can't work at night.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous. They were known as superb craftsmen. They built temples, fish ponds, roads, canoes, and houses. And legend has it that the Menehune appear only during the nighttime hours to build their masterpieces. And if they fail to complete their work in one night, before the morning time, they will leave it unoccupied.
I like that too.
Same.
They're industrious.
Yeah.
It's like if we can't finish our work in one night, we're going to abandon it.
Yeah, it's done for.
Yeah.
I give up. I quit.
I quit.
I'll go to another area.
It's kind of like this place over here by my house they've been building now for 3 years.
Just give up.
And no one knows what it is.
Yeah.
It's like a burger joint or something. It's got a drive-through, but it's literally been under construction for 3 years.
I've tried to look it up too.
Because it's a mystery.
Yep. I've even asked the people who work across because it's owned by the same people.
They own the same, yes.
And I've heard a couple different theories. Some say it's a burger joint. Some say it's a chicken joint.
Right.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. But, again, if they would learn by the Menehune way,
boom.
If you didn't have that done in a day, just walk away.
Get the heck out of here.
Don't keep construction going for 3
years. Come on.
For a small place.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's the size of like a Starbucks.
It's not even that big,
yeah.
I don't think.
No one but their children and humans connected to them can see the Menehune.
Yeah, and I wondered what that meant. Like, how are you connected with the Menehune? How is a human connected to them if they don't even want you to watch? And you run the risk of being turned into stone.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
No, not at all. But apparently, what it means is that if the Menehune see that you are like a good person that completely respects the forests and the natural environments and places that they may inhabit, then they feel a connection to you. They still may not materialize to you. They still may not want you there.
Yeah.
But they're not going to hurt you or turn you into stone because they know you respect their environment.
They could sense it almost.
And then that same philosophy, if you think about it, is like the little people of the Pryors. If you respect their area, you had permission to like hunt their land.
Yeah.
You give them an offering of some kind, then they left you alone. And I think it kind of means the same thing, that as long as you're respecting their land and you take care of the environment and you give them their space and stuff, that they feel a connection to you. And so I don't know if that means now all of a sudden that you get to watch them work.
Which would be kind of cool.
It would be kind of cool
to watch
if you
them
had the privilege of watching them do their work in one night.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
And see, how do they do it?
Build an entire chicken place in one night.
Yeah.
An entire burger place. Drive through and all.
Exactly. Sons
of guns. Now, some of these structures that Hawaiian folklore attributed to the Menehune still exist today. Stories
and we're going to get into those too, because they're pretty awesome.
Stories of the Menehune represent deep cultural values like hard work, community, and harmony with nature, while teaching respect for the land, moral lessons, and cultural knowledge, as well as consequences of breaking those taboos.
Yeah, like being turned into stone.
Yeah. So they're famous for constructing complex structures in one night, which again, that's
in and of itself makes them magical.
Yeah.
Because as humans, we can't do that.
No, and
nobody builds a full home in one night. Nobody builds, maybe you could do a canoe, but even then, you think about the intricacy of trying to craft a boat out of a log. It's going to take you a while.
Yeah.
And these little guys, nothing.
Done. Easy.
Done deal.
And if they can't do it, out.
We're done. I love that.
When they're building these complex structures, they're using intricate stonework and bucket brigades. They showcase advanced craftsmanship and problem solving. They are thought to be guardians of nature, living in the forests and valleys. They embody the spiritual connection Hawaiians have with their land, working unseen to maintain natural beauty, which sounds like a lot of these little people.
Yeah.
They respect the land that they live on, which I do too.
Yeah.
I get, you can't help it. Trash truck comes by and trash blows in your yard. I don't just leave it.
Right.
Immediately walk out and grab it and go throw it in my trash can.
It's even when we go hunting and stuff.
Yeah, see trash.
I see people left their shotgun shells out there. Stuff.
Yep.
I pick it up, put it in my pocket.
Yeah. So I like that about them. They respect the land, and they'll kill you if you look at them. I kind of like that too. To some, they're bringers of good fortune, and encountering a Menehune is often seen as a sign of good luck, similar to the leprechauns.
Right. So in some legends, if you encounter one, it brings you good luck. In others, you encounter one and you see them working, you get turned into a pillar of stone.
Yeah.
So not sure exactly which one it is, but both lores are out there, so they could.
But if they could sense that you're good, then maybe they're only turning the people they sense are bad into stone.
That's very possible.
The guys who are hiking and they have like the JBL speaker hanging off their hip, blasting music and flicking cigarette butts out on the ground.
That's what I was going to say, dropping litter all the way. Yeah.
Letting their dog poop and then they put it in the bag, but then they just toss it off to the side and then they never pick it up when they come back. Those people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Pillar of stone.
Yeah. Boom. Stone them. I don't care. Now, some people believe they were a true race of people that pre-existed on the island, while others believe they were magical beings or supernatural mystical beings.
Again, let's get down to brass taxes here. A lot of people are going to say, no, they literally were a true race of people that got to the islands and predate native Hawaiians and the Polynesians and the different cultures that arrived in the islands. that those were way after these little people
I'm not
were
buying
already
it.
there. And I don't think I put it in here, but there are some people currently living in Hawaii that said that the Menehune men started marrying Hawaiian women and bringing like this cross culture, and that those people still exist today, and they claim to be descendants of the Menehune. I don't think that would be the case.
It's like a reverse Nephilim.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Instead of this big giant, it's this little hairy guy.
It's a little hairy guy with a big nose.
Yeah.
The only reason that I'm not buying that they were an actual people, although there could be potential evidence that they were, is that if they were able to turn people into stone, if they were able to build projects in one night, if they were able to vanish or disappear immediately upon being seen by human eyes, what person can do that?
Exactly.
Only magical, mystical beings, demons,
Yeah.
cryptids, etc., can do that.
Right.
And so I would say that the Menehune were more in line with like the gnomes, the leprechauns, and the other things that are
all the other little people across all the other cultures that are supernatural.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have to be.
They have to be.
They can't be regular, normal little pygmy tribe or something. It just, it doesn't make sense what their little superpowers are, that it wouldn't relate to being a normal human being.
And as we could still show today, regular people can't build intricate things in one night.
Right.
So it's got to be supernatural.
They have to be.
Some believe that the structures they left behind are evidence of their existence, but there is no actual physical evidence like bones or burial sites, etc., to prove their existence. Which doesn't mean...
It does not. And as soon as you find it, like in the case of the Pryors, where they found that little thing that they put in a glass case.
Yeah. Pedro.
Yeah, little Pedro. People just write that off as, it's a prank.
It's just
it's not real.
It's a prank, or we found out that it's actually...
It's an infant.
It's an infant of a different type of caveman person thing. It's like people just bogus.
So even if you found a burial site and you had 5 million little bones in there, they would just say, these are just children. They were children.
And I'm guessing how connected and, for a lack of a better term, spiritual that they seem, they probably aren't just letting their people die off and just, rot on the side of the road.
Right.
They're probably doing something with it, and that's why we haven't found anything, if they even die.
Yeah.
Who knows?
If they die. Because if they're spiritual, maybe they don't.
Maybe they don't.
And that's why you don't find bones.
It's got to be.
Yep.
So despite that, travelers and visitors are often warned to watch out for the Menehune, because they are known to shoot tiny arrows at those who come too close to their homes. There are also tales of Menehune piercing the hearts of angry people with magic arrows, igniting feelings of love.
So they're basically little cupids.
Little cupids.
But see, this is where this doesn't really fit the overall scheme of the Menehune.
To me, this little sentence that I just read that's like a tourist thing.
Yeah.
That's what they tell tourists to sell t-shirts and whatever,
Right.
Or whatever it is, go on our tour and we'll talk to you about stuff. Just something.
Because I don't know that you can find a story that says that these little guys shot arrows at anybody because they were too close to homes.
Yeah.
In fact, the stories that I see are mainly that they just disappear.
Yeah.
If you're too close to them, they don't want to be seen, but it doesn't. I've never seen the legend that says that they try and kill you.
Right.
So where this particular thing came from, maybe one person got shot at. I don't know. But I wasn't able to find that. But going back to what I said in the very beginning of the malevolent versus benevolent little people, this is the only thing, the shooting of arrows and the turning people into stone. That's the only thing that you could say that they're malevolent, because everything else that they do is taking care of nature, building beautiful things,
wanting to be left alone,
and just enjoy their little lives.
It sounds like the perfect life.
It is the perfect
Enjoying
life.
nature, build a couple things, and disappear when someone tries to talk to you.
Yeah. Go to a ball game, have a crab sandwich.
Yeah.
See, the Menehune are missing out on that. But
it is said that when mischievous Menehune become uncontrollable, the owl god Papua summons the owls to chase them back into the forest. They are terrified of owls. They also fear dogs. If they hear a barking dog, they will abandon their projects and disappear.
Yeah, so I kind of looked into that a little bit too. And the owl god, that Papueo, is the god of the Pueo owl of Hawaii. And so I kind of looked into the Pueo owl, and it's similar to the same owls that are here. They are carnivorous, and the Pueo is known, they're just like a short-eared owl, and it's known to eat rodents. And so that's why all of a sudden I was thinking, well, no wonder why they're afraid. They're tiny little people running around. They look like a rodent to an owl. And so when this god calls these owls in and they're swarming, the skies, these little people run for their lives because they're going to get picked off and eaten by an owl.
Yeah, it'd be like if pterodactyls were swarming us right now. I'd be freaked out too.
We'd all be freaked out if some big bird was coming after us. Now, I didn't see why they're afraid of dogs, but it might be the same thing. I mean, if they were attacked by a pit bull or something like that, they wouldn't stand much of a chance to survive.
I could be wrong, so people out there don't quote me on this, but aren't wild dogs somewhat of a problem in parts of Hawaii or those islands?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know that.
Maybe I was thinking of somewhere else. I can't remember now.
Yeah, I don't know. Well. I don't know that.
Because if that was the case, I mean, that would be horrifying.
It would be horrifying.
You got a pack of wild dogs and you're 2 feet tall?
Because in Russia, they had them, right?
Yes.
Didn't they have they were tracking a pack of like 900 wild dogs?
Yeah.
And they would come into towns and ravage people. I don't remember where that was in Russia. It wasn't like in the city, but on like the outskirts area. So I don't know if Hawaii has the same issue with wild dogs, but
I mean, as a grown man, I'd be scared. I'd be scared of a pack of wild dogs. Yeah. Think of a pack of wolves.
Right.
And now you're 2 foot tall.
Yeah. Well, and that's the problem. But if they could vanish.
And they have superhuman strength.
Then I don't know why. I just know that the legend says that they are scared of dogs. And so we'll leave it at that.
Yep.
Because I would think.
You just vanish and you're good to go.
If you can just be gone, you don't have to worry about a dog attack or an owl attack. But they're terrified.
Yeah.
And so I guess that would be a good deterrent. If you were a traveler or a visitor to Hawaii and you were walking through an area that is known to have Menehune people, walk a dog.
Yeah.
Take a dog with you.
Good to go.
Bark, they're going to run.
Yep.
Simple as that. You don't have to worry about the little arrows. Just let your dog bark.
Today, the Menehune appear as mascots and on souvenirs, keeping their legend alive in modern Hawaiian culture.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of those little trinkets, they're little statues and stuff that you'd put on a shelf or something.
Yeah.
Little shot glasses with a Menehune person on it or whatnot.
Your typical tourist stuff.
It's typical
I'd buy it if I was there.
Of course. Why not? And you know what? If we do go to Hawaii, we do have to buy it.
Yep.
Because that would be perfect in our studio.
Yes.
Since we did a little episode on them.
I'm sitting right here on the edge of the desk.
That's right.
It's perfect.
So we're going to move into some of the work examples that they left behind that are still in existence today. And a lot of people will attribute it to their construction abilities because they're saying there was no other way it could have been constructed. So unlike the chicken or burger place that, is being put up by people.
Yeah, exactly.
These are unexplainable. And archaeologists and whatnot have looked at it and said this just is not a typical build, not for the time, not for...
It's like the pyramids.
Right.
It's like their equivalent of the pyramids.
It's a complete mystery on how this stuff was done. But we'll jump into it. The first one, and again, could butcher this, but it's the Alikoko Fish Pond. It's located just south of Lihu along the Hulea River, and the Alikoko Fish Pond is an example of ancient aquaculture. Commonly referred to as the Menehune Fish Pond, archaeologists believe that the site was constructed about 1,000 years ago. So construction 1,000 years ago was I say it wasn't good, but if you look at like Rome and stuff,
Yeah.
pretty amazing what they were all able to do with limited tools and all that. But they found that the stones used in its construction came from more than 25 miles away. The wall that separates the fish pond from the river is more than 900 feet long and 5 feet high. It's believed that the Menehune stood shoulder to shoulder from Wahaiawa to Niumalu, which is that 25-mile distance, carrying the stones person to person in the dark of night. And at Niumalu, the stones were chiseled by the workers to fit tightly together. The most well-known story of this fish pond involves a princess, Kalelelihua, and her brother, Alekoko, who snuck out one night to watch the Menehune build the fish pond for them. So as the legend goes, they were the royalty in that particular area, and they had commissioned these little Menehune to work for them. The Menehune said, yeah, no problem, we'll build the fish pond. But we got rules.
Yep.
You can't watch us. And we're going to go out at night. We're going to build this thing in one night, but you can't be there and you can't watch. So they agreed. So when the siblings were discovered, because they couldn't take it, as they heard all the ruckus of the building and stuff, so they hid and they were trying to watch.
You would have to.
I would think that you would.
Yeah.
You got to see how these little guys can do all this in one night. But they hid, and not good enough. They were discovered. And as soon as they were discovered, the chief of the Menehune ordered all of the little Menehune people to cease their work, wash their hands in the fish pond, and return home. Well, the Menehune, in anger, they were so ticked off here that they turned those two into stone pillars that can still be seen in the mountains above the fish pond today. The work on the fish pond was left unfinished, and the gaps were later filled in by other people that saw that it wasn't completed, so they went in and completed it.
Yeah.
But the little Menehune, which is the legend, and they clearly did it, once they discovered that they were being watched, we're done. That's it.
It's over.
We're washing our hands, literally. We're abandoning the project, and because you pissed us off, we turn you to stone.
You're done.
That's it.
I mean, they warned him. It's not like it came out of left field.
No, and these people knew.
Yeah.
They know the legend of the Menehune, and when they commissioned them to do the work, they were clearly given the rules, and they violated them. So that's it.
That's what they get.
Stone pillars. So today, the Menehune Fish Pond is now listed on the National Register of Historic Places, but they still cannot explain how it was built. And then moving into the next one, which is the Kikiaola Ditch, if you want to cover that one.
Yeah, so this is another structure with Menehune ties on Kauai, and that's the Kikiaola irrigation ditch that's located in Waimea, and it is a 24-foot high irrigation ditch that channels water from the Waimea River, demonstrating great engineering skills.
So they were smart little guys.
They're super intelligent. While ancient Hawaiians are known for their stone-crafted irrigation systems for growing taro, the Menehune ditch is a significant archaeological find because of the type and cut of the stone used to create it. So instead of uncut or roughly shaped lava rock, the Menehune ditch is constructed of finely carved basalt stones.
Yeah, now that I had to look that up because I didn't know what a basalt stone was. I think we've talked about basalt before in another episode.
Just trying to think of what episode that was.
Yeah, but I can't remember. But it's an igneous rock that's formed from the cooling of the magnesium and iron that's in lava.
Yeah.
And so, which, come on, the Hawaiian Islands is a lot of volcanic activities, a lot of rock. But it becomes, it's like a porous kind of a rock. You've picked up lava rock before?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of it in California too, that just on the side of the road as you're heading up towards Bishop and stuff. And it's like a porous, lightweight rock, but it's really sharp. It has a lot of areas that can cut you, which is what happens here is these poor little guys, they'd get their hands cut, so they would have to wash them in the water and stuff to get the blood off their hands. Or I read that in one of the articles on these guys. But this was just not typical of the type of stonework that was done, because they used tools to turn these rocks into perfect formations that fit together tightly, which all other construction done by humans from that point on, they just kind of stack the rock, and put mortar in between it or whatnot to hold it together.
Exactly, yeah.
But it wasn't the same. And that's why the archaeologists found that this was quite something to find the way it was done.
Yeah, so that, just like you were saying, that ancient construction method was not seen anywhere else in Hawaii, and archaeologists predated its construction before the 14th century Tahitian arrival in Hawaii.
And so, yeah, if you talk about the timeline on this as well, if most of the people that did the construction and whatnot and built up the islands of Hawaii weren't even there yet, then who did it?
The Menehune.
The Menehune.
There's nothing else to it.
Yeah, and they were craftsmen that had skills that nobody else had.
Yeah.
And could do it in one night.
Which is, that still gets me every time you say it.
And if you think about the structures, the fish pond was 900 feet long, 5 feet high. The ditch is 24-foot high irrigation channel. That's a lot of work for one night.
For one night.
It's unbelievable is what it is.
Those are the guys I want to hire.
Yeah.
You need a shed? Get the Menehune.
Yeah.
You need a chicken coop? Get the Menehune.
Get the Menehune.
Boom, done. Easy.
Yeah.
They'd probably build one of our modern houses in like 15 minutes.
Why can't they be standing out in front of Home Depot?
Yeah.
So you can pull up in your truck, whistle, get 15 of them in the back of your truck, take them off, and you've got your project
I'll give them
one night.
All the coconut pudding they want.
Exactly.
It's easy. And I won't watch them. I'll sit in the house, sip coffee.
I see no reason to watch them.
I don't care. I'll leave you alone. Yeah.
I just want my project done. Here's some coconut pudding. Get to work. Yeah. And then you get up in the morning and it's all done.
Coconut pudding and cost of materials, and that's it?
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Oh, man. Where are the Menehune? So the last basic thing that has to do with structure is very minimal. But
yeah. So structures like those found on Necker Island are often attributed to the Menehune, as they feature stone artifacts such as upright figures that are distinct from later Hawaiian, but similar to older Tahitian Polynesian forms. So it's just something that the other cultures, when they got there, or the other people, whatever you want to refer to it as, they just weren't doing that.
Right.
And you wouldn't do everything in one form and then do one thing and something else and then go back to doing everything else in the thing you're doing before. It just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. And I didn't get into the whole thing of why they left Hawaii and went to the Necker Island way back when. This predates all these other people getting there to the Hawaiian Islands. And I didn't feel it was important enough to say why they went there. But when people have gone to Necker Island and seen these different structures that were built that matched the same kinds of things that were on the other Hawaiian Islands, that's what kind of linked the fact that the Menehune were here on this particular island as well. So I didn't get into any of the detail on that. So moving into the evidence of whether or not they actually exist. Despite having no physical evidence of their existence, the bones that we talked about, burial sites, pottery, coinage, things that we've used to historically date particular cultures and where people lived and all that kind of stuff. There isn't any of that for the Menehune. But most people believe that just the structures that they built are evidence enough of their existence. They knew it wasn't the Polynesians. They knew it wasn't the Hawaiians. It had to be the Menehune that were able to construct these different structures that still exist today. And so that's the evidence that they have to believe that the Menehune did, in fact, exist.
I'm buying it.
Yeah, I buy it too. And then moving into 1820, King Kaumaoli conducted a census on Kauai, and he included 65 Menehune that were living deep in the Wainiha Valley. And so this is kind of similar to the leprechaun stuff.
Yep.
Where the government says, no, there's still, I can't remember the number now, but what was it, like 220?
Yeah, it was something like that. I remember it was triple digits.
Specific number of little leprechauns that lived in a particular community.
And they're protected.
And this reminds me of that because this king, while conducting a census, he wants to know exactly how many people he's got in Kauai at the time. He literally documents the fact that 65 Menehunes are living there. Well, that in and of itself is evidence of their existence, unless he was a nut.
Which he could be.
He could have been high on coconut pudding. And
yeah, who knows?
Who knows? But nonetheless, it is documented that 65 of these little Menehune folks lived in that particular area.
And I believe still live.
They have to be there.
Yeah.
And the reason that we believe it is our next little section.
Yes.
Sightings of the Menehune. There's been a lot of sightings that weren't detailed, but we did find a few that were a little more detailed. And I think they're worth throwing out there because these little folks exist. So you want to start with sightings?
Yeah. In the mid-1940s, a group of 45 elementary school students claimed to have seen multiple Menehunes jumping around and seemingly playing around some trees in the northern Big Island.
So 45 kids saw this.
Yeah.
If you said 2, you could chalk it up to prank. You could say, okay, well, little Johnny didn't really see anything, convinced his friend to cover the story, and then they just lie about it.
Well, and this was probably the whole school, right? We're talking in the 40s.
Yeah.
More
than likely.
It's probably the whole school,
it's
45
probably
kids.
The entire elementary.
Yeah.
So every kid, 45 kids, they all see the Menehune running around. And again, so this sounds terrible, the way I'm going to put this, but this is 1940. This is when children actually had some respect for their adults, that they somewhat followed rules more so than today's kids. They get to go to a special safety room, because
after they just got done screaming and cussing at their parents. Yeah.
And then they don't have to take a test because it gives them a migraine.
God,
and they don't have to go
anxiety.
to school today because, they're on some Ritalin or some, Adderall or a drug.
Methamphetamines,
more than likely.
That's pretty much
they're
what
all
it
out
is.
Smoking pot and stuff.
Chemical meth.
And so if today 20 students or something said, hey, we saw a bunch of little people running around on the campus, we'd all just say, what were you smoking?
Yep.
But in 1940, these kids probably weren't lying.
Yeah.
And like I said, I know that sounds terrible. Anybody listening and go, oh, you guys are rude. But I mean, if you just look at today's society versus the 40s, the 30s, the 20s, the 50s, it was a different time. And I don't believe 45 kids said, hey, let's all get together and mess with the teacher, especially when they're in an area where the Menehune are known to exist.
Yeah. And let's be honest, if you're sitting there thinking, oh, that's so rude, your kid's probably the brat we're talking about. So get over it.
You've been called into the principal's office too many times.
But in all seriousness, there was more discipline and respect and honor, whatever you want to call it back then. Because if all of these kids were causing a ruckus saying this, they probably would have got smacked by the teachers.
Oh, yeah.
And then got smacked when they got home for being disrespectful to their teacher.
Absolutely. Discipline in school was a definite thing. It still was when I was in school. You'd have to go to the principal's office and get spanked if you were bad. Now, principal would have to go to prison.
Yeah.
For child abuse or
if a teacher raised their voice at a kid, they'd be, that's assault now.
Right. It's insane what goes on. But anyway, moving into our next sighting in 1964, in a quiet little town of Waianae, a young boy claimed to have seen a Menehune. And the story actually got published in the local paper there, which quickly got the community all riled up.
Which I love.
Yeah, and kind of stirred up memories of ancient legends that they had heard, while they were growing up. So when questioned by his school principal, Mr. Moore, and the paper's reporter, Bob Krause, this 11-year-old boy said that he was watering the front lawn when he thought he heard somebody behind him. And as he turns around, he sees this really short guy dressed in a cloak and a helmet. And this boy describes him as being about as tall as his mailbox. So
3 feet.
Yeah. About
give or
3
take.
feet. Right. So Mr. Krause asked the boy if he was excited, to which he replied, quote, I don't know what I was. He smiled at me sort of mischievous, and then walked away. He had big eyes like a cat. He walked real slow. And when he went around the corner of the house, I got excited and I wanted to follow him, but he disappeared. End quote. Well, it's a Menehune.
It's a Menehune.
Of course he disappeared.
Perfect description of one.
Yeah.
The eyes and everything.
So Bob Krause, kind of, intrigued by this little boy's story, decides he's going to go out and visit the home where this occurred, and he spoke with the boy's mom. She showed him something that added credibility to this little boy's story. 2 sets of footprints embedded in the mud under a newly planted plumeria tree. There was another set at the corner of the house, and most disturbingly, 5 muddy footprints leading up the wall and halfway across a large picture window. The presence of the footprints suggested that whatever this little boy had seen was not merely a figment of his own imagination, but it was reality.
Yeah.
So just like our gnome case where the police come out and they find footprints by the fish pond and all over the yard, this is the same. There was physical evidence that some little guy was there.
And that makes me go back to people online saying, despite having no physical evidence of their existence, this is.
It's physical evidence.
Yeah.
And it was seen by a reporter.
And I get that they mean more so, like you were saying, the bodies and stuff like that. But still, to me, this is physical evidence.
Exactly. I totally agree with you. So a lady, Auntie Abigail Peliliao, and I butchered that, I'm sure.
I'm sure you nailed it.
She was a respected elder in that community, and she provided additional information that kind of deepened the whole mystery of this little guy. She explained that the area surrounding the boy's home was actually known as Waioli, which was traditionally considered the home of the Menehune. And even when Waiane was a sugar plantation, the workers avoided planting cane in that area out of respect for the Menehune who were believed to dwell there. So that kind of goes back on what we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
If you show respect to their land, then they feel that they're connected to you somehow.
And they're not going to bother you.
And they don't bother you. But also in this case, even though this little guy disappeared, he also wasn't like overly angry that the little boy spotted him.
Yeah.
And that's probably because he felt as though that they respect the area. So skeptics of this particular story thought that the Menehune could have just been a prankster, like a normal little kid wearing a mask. But the little boy, who's pretty sharp,
yeah,
he completely dismisses their notion with a simple statement. He said, quote, "No, because he smiled, and you can't smile with a mask," end quote.
That's one of the good things about kids. They're just blunt sometimes.
They're blunt. He knew what he saw.
Yeah.
And you have to agree with that.
Yeah.
If a kid is walking down the street and he's got a mask on, like, a Halloween mask or who cares what kind, Mardi Gras, doesn't matter what it is. How do you smile through a mask? And how would this kid see it? He knew what he saw.
Exactly.
It was a little Menehune man wearing a helmet in a cloak, smiled at him, continued on, for some reason walked up the side of his house and across their window and disappeared.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Exactly.
I don't care what anybody says.
And I always kind of have hated when people dismiss kids in that and they go, "Oh, you just have a big imagination and push it along."
Right.
It's like, no, this kid saw this thing.
Yeah. He absolutely saw it.
And you don't want to look like a nut, so don't make him feel like he didn't do it because, I don't know, you feel weird about him seeing little people or whatever it is.
Well, this little guy saw it because the footprints were there.
They were there.
And it was witnessed by a media reporter.
Right.
So, it's real. It has to be.
Yeah.
So when this Mr. Krause asked the boy if he'd ever seen a real witch or a goblin, the little boy says, quote, "I don't believe in things like that," end quote. Well, his denial of ever seeing anything of that nature only added to the credibility because, he could have said, "Oh yeah, I believe in all those things." And
My grandma told me the stories, whatever it is. Yeah.
And you might say, okay, the little guy's just really exaggerating what he saw.
Yeah.
But this little kid was pretty clear that he's never seen anything like that. He doesn't even believe in that kind of stuff, but he knows that there was a little Menehune man in his yard. It was pretty clear that the boy was not one to indulge in believing in things that normal people don't believe in, which made the insistence that he saw that little Menehune man more realistic. Like, there's no doubt that that's what he saw. So the story left a lasting impression on all of the people that heard it because the boy's serious demeanor and the physical evidence of the footprints out there were enough to convince most of the adults around him, including his principal and the reporter, that he had an encounter with a Menehune.
Well, there you go.
All the adults are buying into it because they say this little boy's credible. He's not lying about any of this stuff. And he didn't exaggerate other beliefs. He doesn't believe in stupid things.
He dismissed it when they were like, told him about it. No, those things aren't real. I don't believe that.
So you listen to his story. You see physical evidence that it occurred. You have to believe him.
I believe him.
Anybody that doesn't believe him, then what's wrong with you?
They're just, I don't know. They're assholes.
Yeah. No, they are. Skeptics.
They're skeptics. They're skeptics is what they are.
Beyond the
logic.
norm.
You're beyond logic at that point. You think you're being logical by dismissing this, but you're so dismissive of it that you're actually not being logical in the end.
I mean, if I told you I just saw a 12-foot kangaroo in my backyard, but I took you out there and showed you kangaroo footprints through the yard and fecal matter that he left behind, that I'm no longer the nut.
Exactly.
But if you don't believe that, and your eyes, and I know our eyes can deceive us, but if you see these massive kangaroo footprints with a tail dragging through the dirt and poop left behind, if you don't believe me, then you're the problem.
Right.
And so that's the way I look at it. I believe this little kid. I believe the people that believe that the Menehune people existed. And I think that their little structures and stuff are good physical evidence that they did exist, at least at one point.
I agree.
Yeah.
There it is.
So moving on.
Yeah, so a lady by the name of Lenani Whitford, she was a teacher for about 31 years. And she tells a story that happened in the mid-1980s, and she didn't give an exact date. She had a female student who was about 13 or 14 years old, and it was recess time, and the student didn't want to go out to recess because she's feeling tired, so she asked if she could just stay in the classroom quietly. So Lenani agrees and steps out to watch the other kids. But when she steps back in, she notices that the student is scared. She gets up and runs over to her. So she asks her, what's wrong? She stated that she saw two Menehune people, two Menehune guys, rolling a lava rock between two stakes. And apparently this is like an old Hawaiian game. And student tells her that one of them, as she was staring at him, one of them looked at her and they made eye contact. And when they did, it scared her and she got freaked out. So that's when she looked away. And that's when the teacher had walked in the classroom and she ran over to her. She described them, and I think this is key, as ancient-looking man with mallow tied ropes like around their necks.
Yeah.
I think the key word there, though, is man. She didn't say they were little kids. She said they were men, but they're the little Menehune.
Right. She's credible.
Then this teacher claimed that this girl was a phenomenal student, which I'm assuming means she's a good kid.
Right.
You know, she's not causing trouble. She's not typically lying.
Had no reason to lie about what she saw. And she's terrified.
She genuinely looked horrified.
Yeah.
I believe her.
Of course. There's no reason that you wouldn't
There's no reason not to.
So moving on, in 2006, an anonymous woman, and see, when there's anonymity and lack of detail, I don't buy it as much.
Right.
These other stories, I buy.
See, and I get a little pulled on them because initially I have that thought. I don't believe this, because of it being anonymous. But then at the same time, I go back to, you probably don't want to be a nut.
Don't want to be considered insane. Right.
Anonymously post your story or tell somebody or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
So it's kind of.
Yeah, it's iffy. It's 50-50 on that one. But this woman was driving on a remote gravel road in the Kapapala Forest Reserve area when approximately 20 Menehune people crossed the road in front of her. They were only about 3 feet tall and covered in hair. She noted that they had a look of shock on their faces, like they hadn't ever seen a car before.
Yeah.
Or they didn't think that they were going to be noticed. So, as they're heading across the roadway and they catch eye contact with her, they're just as freaked out as she is. So it doesn't say if they disappeared. It doesn't say if they ran off into the forest. It doesn't say what she did after, if it was reported or anything else. But she claims 20 of these little guys were running across the road right in front of her car.
Yeah.
So
I believe it.
And that was in 2006, so not too long ago.
No.
20 years ago.
It happened.
It happened.
There's nothing else to it.
It did.
In 2011, Arnold S. was relaxing on a beach with his friends on a dark night, and it was around 11, when the bushes nearby began to shake violently. The group of friends then dashed towards their car and noticed that a group of, quote, little wild people, end quote, were running across the road towards them. The group of friends then got in their car and drove off.
Now, see, these little guys, they were probably just heading out to their work site. They were going to build something and then came across these people, and they probably said, that's it, we're done.
Yep.
And
can't do it now.
That little structure never got built.
Thanks to these people.
Thanks to these people who were, they did nothing wrong, but they probably stopped some beautiful temple from being built or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, they got in their car, they drove off, and that was the end of that one.
Which is probably the smart thing to do, because you never know.
Well, they might have little arrows. They might turn you to stone.
Yeah.
So depending on what lore you believe, they could be dangerous little creatures.
And who knows? Maybe
or happy little guys.
You never know if these little guys are linked to missing people, too.
Well,
they could be capturing people.
Yeah, I bet if you looked it up, there's probably a little Menehune map. And then we'll find out where missing people are.
Yeah.
And then come to find out little Menehunes are cannibalistic or something.
How can you report getting kidnapped if you never come back?
That's right. Well, needless to say, several people have reported seeing these, quote, small furry creatures, end quote, with bulbous noses in the forest, but all of those stories lack detail to even bring out.
It's all the, I saw them once when I was 10.
Right.
And then that's all you got.
And there's a ton of that. You go on Reddit, go on YouTube and stuff, and you look at these things. Everybody will say, oh, I saw them once. When I was, like you said, when I was 10 years old, I saw the Menehune people, and they were running amok, out in a field somewhere, but they don't give any dates or times. You're not going to throw out their name.
And I hate to say this because I don't like to discredit anybody, but I think a lot of those Reddit guys are just, they just throw it out there. I don't know, for attention or get a couple likes and thumbs ups.
Yeah. I like reading some of the things on Reddit because some people are insightful and others are just there to be rude or ridiculous.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of information out there on the Menehune, just not a whole lot of detail. So it wasn't worth throwing out there. But moving into the next thing is just popularity. There were some movies made that referenced the Menehunes. Specifically in 2004, there was a movie called Rocket Power, Island of the Menehune. In 2018, there was an animated feature called The Legend of Halawayan. And they were basically these little small Ewok-looking creatures that lived in the Hilo jungle. If you look up festivals and things of that nature, there's several of them in Hawaii. They have these annual surf competitions and a bunch of different community events in Hawaii named after the Menehune. And there's even a Menehune Mayhem Festival and a Menehune Bash. The Menehune Festival, I think, has been going on for around 22 years annually. And so that's something that would be fun to go to.
Speaking of fun festivals, we guess what one we missed recently?
What did we miss?
The Loveland Frogmen. Oh, they did one. See? It was towards the beginning of the month.
And we haven't done an episode on that because there's not a lot of information.
I got on something. I think I pulled up, only because I grew up with it, so I always go to it, but I pulled up Coast to Coast AM. They have like a website and it'll post like news stuff.
Yeah.
So I pulled it up and it was a Sunday at work. It was like slow in the morning, so I pulled it up to read something and I saw the picture of it and I was like, I wonder when that is. And I clicked on it and it had been that day before, that Saturday before. I was like, oh, well, missed that.
Yeah. And that one, didn't a police officer shoot the Loveland Frog? I'm pretty sure that's the one I'm thinking of.
I think so, yeah.
He shot it, but it turned out to be a big iguana or something.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it was, yeah.
So there wasn't a lot on that. I always wanted to do an episode on the Loveland Frog, but I think that's about all you can say.
Yeah, there's not really much to it besides that. I think one picture and then the lore of it. and then you get stories like we were just talking about with, I saw it.
I saw it.
Can you describe it? No, not really. It was there though.
Yeah, it was definitely there. It was amphibious.
Yeah.
I know that. Anyway, that's pretty much all we've got on the Menehune.
Yeah.
They are, whether you believe they are a true race of people or they're a little spiritual, magical entity, I think they exist.
I think they're out there.
Yeah. There's witnesses to it. There's structures left behind. I would love to see pictures of the stone pillars of the princess and her brother.
Yeah. I'll probably look that up when we get done with this.
We're going to have to do that. It's almost like Lot's wife,
Yeah, pillar of salt. That's what I was thinking the whole time.
Yeah. And they're up on a mountainside overlooking the very fish pond that they had built.
Yep, way to go.
So it doesn't get any better than that. Anyway, the little Menehune people, they're real.
They're real.
I don't care how you slice it. And
if you've seen them, let us know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to know if there's any updated evidence of Menehune. Have they built anything else recently?
And who knows? There's probably such thick parts of jungle over there that.
Well, like a Necker Island that nobody ever goes to and uninhabited. They probably
got a whole city.
Oh, they're flourishing. Anyway, that's all we've got, unless you got anything else.
No, that was good.
All right, I think our next episode, near and dear.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's just my favorite. Always has been, always will be.
Oh yeah.
Don't even know how much information we're going to be able to conjure up on this.
Doesn't matter.
I know there's podcasts. I know there's witnesses that, give very little detail on it. I know there's websites that relate to this because I've already been looking into it.
Yeah.
But it's my favorite. I know it's yours. And it's the Dogmen of the Texas Triangle.
Yep.
And
it doesn't get better than Dogman.
It doesn't get any better than that. You got this massive stretch between San Antonio, Houston, and Dallas that is famous for Dogman sightings. And if you've listened to any of our podcasts, you know that if we could become a Rougarou tomorrow,
yes,
we would. And it's just, it's right up our alley. It's something that we love to talk about.
And you can't beat that. Good barbecue and then Dogman right there.
Exactly.
You can't beat that.
No, you can't. So join us next time when we talk about our beloved Dogman.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the show and you want to help us out, then go ahead and give us a follow, leave us a review, and don't forget to turn on the automatic download button so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. And as always, if you've had any experiences, stories, thoughts, comments, or questions, we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email to cryptidfanatic@gmail.com. Let us know if you'd like to be on the show or just have your story featured during one of our episodes.